Greetings, salutations, and welcome to SportsLook, the sports television program for the high plains of West Texas and eastern New Mexico. I'm your host, Doc Elder, and we're going to live in the present, but we're also going to look to the future because we're going to have Jarius, Stewart, and Kelley Lee from Greyhound football. We're also going to have Daven from Greyhound men's basketball. I'll finish up with an overtime, but as always, I'll start out with an Eastern recap. Greyhound soccer played well on Saturday, just came up a little bit short against St. Mary's. Greyhound volleyball, a couple of home matches, they played well. Unfortunately, came up a little bit short in both of their matches. Greyhound cross country, riding in the Lone Star Conference meet. Greyhound guys finished 13th, Greyhound girls finished 13th. And Greyhound rodeo, both had strong showings down in Hobbs, New Mexico. Greyhound guys finished 4th, Greyhound ladies finished 4th. And Greyhound football, pretty good day. More will be said about that momentarily. Well, that has been your Eastern recap, so we'll clear this out and we'll bring in Jarius, Stewart, and Kelley Lee from Greyhound football right now. Welcome back to Sports Look, and a privilege to bring to this set of Sports Look. We've got the quarterback of Greyhound football, Jarius Stewart. We've got the head coach, Kelley Lee. And guys, welcome back to Sports Look.
Thanks, Doc. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Jarius, we'll start out with you. Where are you from originally, and what was the process that got you to wear the green and silver at Eastern?
Yes, sir. I'm born and raised in Port Lavaca, Texas. It's about an hour from Corpus Christi. And initially, out of high school, when I graduated, I committed to the Air Force Academy. I went to the prep school for a year. I played there. We played some junior colleges there. And then I went to the academy for about a year and a half before I hit the transfer portal, and I ended up here.
So what was it about the Air Force Academy that attracted you in the first place?
I would say they contacted me my junior year, and they reached back out later in my senior year. But really, I wanted to play big-time football, and that was one of my opportunities to play, at the highest level, play Division I football. So, I wanted to just take a chance and go try and see what I could do.
Well, I happen to know firsthand how tough it is to get into the Air Force Academy because my best friend in high school got into USAFA. So you're not only a really good athlete, you're obviously a really sharp young man, too.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, Kelley, of course, we're coming off a very significant weekend for the Greyhounds. We had homecoming, mission accomplished, got the win, kept the Chili Bowl for another year, and set a few records.
Yeah, it was a great performance. Jarius set a big-time record, broke the Lone Star Conference rushing record, 383 yards. Also set the all-college record, Division I, Division II, Division III, for quarterbacks rushing in a game. No quarterback has ever rushed for more yards in the history of college football in one game than what Jarius did on Saturday. And then as a team, we broke the rushing record, national rushing record. I think we finished with 722 yards, and it was a record that had been around for almost 40 years. So great performance by the guys.
Interestingly enough, the record was held by College, which is in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and actually one of my high school teammates was part of that team. So
small world, Doc.
Gonna have to look at that. Hey, your record's been broken.
Yep.
Well, Jarius, at the beginning of the season, you were the starting quarterback. You hurt your leg the first game of the season. When was it that you finally really felt like you were back to where you were going into the first game?
Yeah, I got hurt the first game. I pulled my quad, actually, and then I came back the Midwestern game, and I played a couple series, but I didn't really feel 100% yet. I'll say towards the end of the game when we played Central Washington up there, I started feeling more confident in my legs and my ability to run, so probably that week, yes, sir.
Well, and obviously, Coach, it's nice having two guys in the backfield that can both throw the ball if needed, because Chad Ragel's switching over from quarterback to running back just makes you a more dynamic offense.
Yeah, it does. And all spring and fall camp, these guys, Chad and Jarius, played both running back and quarterback. They both played running back last year. And so when one was at quarterback, the other was at running back, and they'd done that the last few weeks a little bit, and then And, of course, Jarius went the whole way in this game and did a fantastic job.
Jarius, I read the article on the Go Eastern Athletics website about the accomplishment, and you very modestly said, couldn't have done it without my offensive linemen. So give a shout out to those guys.
Yeah, definitely couldn't have done it without my O-line. I feel like they caught some slack in weeks prior, but they definitely showed up and showed out that night. I couldn't be more appreciative to have them on my side, and they opened up big holes for me, and I was just able to hit them. So I'm very grateful for them.
And Kelley, we were talking, we actually do a radio show, and you're my guest, and you were pointing out that if you get a gain of 3 or 4 yards, it's probably the O-line that created a gap. If you get a gain of 35 or 60 yards, you got to have wide receivers down the field throwing blocks.
Yeah, I think anytime you have a record-setting performance, obviously, the ball carrier did a great job, and then the O-line did a great job. But when you have a performance like this, you got other running backs blocking, you got wide receivers blocking, you got people carrying out fakes, even the scout team giving a good look that week to prepare you. I mean, there's a lot of people, stakeholders, that go into making something like this happen. So I thought our wide receivers had a great game. Our running backs blocked as a unit the best they could. Obviously, our O-line did great, and then Jarius was just a man on fire running the football.
I'm glad you put a shout out to scout teams, because I was a scout team player, and I said, boy, I really got you guys prepped well. So.
Yeah, it's true, though. It is. There's games where scout team does a good job, and there's games where scout team doesn't, and sometimes it shows up on Saturday.
Jarius, in terms of football, who have been the biggest influences on you, helping you to become the football player you are today?
I'd say both my parents for sure. Those are like my first coaches, Rose Stewart and Claude Stewart. And then I would say my youth football coach, Vincent Phillips, back home. And then also all my coaches through middle school, high school, Coach Whitaker, Coach Voss, Coach Sines, Coach Mendoza, anybody that's come across and helped me out along the way. It's really meant a lot. Even like going to different camps and stuff, like Coach Vincent would find camps for me and send me that way, and I just appreciate all of them. So,
Kelley, how did you first become aware of Jarius?
Well, we recruited him a little bit out of high school initially, but then he already had the Division I opportunity. But before he went in the portal, his Coach Whitaker, they run the same offense at Port Lavaca that we run here. And so I've known him for a long time, and he called me and told me he had a good player. He said if I remembered him, he was going in the portal, and if we would be interested. And I said, yeah. And then as soon as he hit the portal, we reached out to him and got him up for a visit. And we're lucky enough to get Jarius on campus. And initially, he just wanted to play because he had played quarterback, he'd played DB, he'd played running back at the Air Force Academy. And he just wanted to play, and we had a returning quarterback. And I said, do you want to running back? And he did outstanding, all-conference running back for us last year. And then at the end of the year, Jarius came in last year and said, Coach, I think I want to give quarterback a shot. I said, well, let's do it. And I'm glad we did.
So, Jarius, and I'm not just saying it because you're nice enough to be my guest and show up for the taping of this program, but you have the most exceptional 270-degree spin I've ever seen from a running back. I mean, it looks like you're going to get hit. You pivot 270, and you're able to pick up another 3 or 4 yards. Where did you learn that?
I don't know. I guess just a lot of footwork drills, and then just like when you're in the game, just like reaction. Like it's just something that just happens off of reaction, really.
Well, I was actually a quarterback, and I didn't react nearly. That was probably why I was a scout team quarterback. And although the guy that played ahead of me was pretty good, I'll say in my defense. Kelley, it's really nice to win homecoming. It's nice to retain the Chili Bowl. Nice to beat your alma mater, but now you got to look ahead and playing a Sul Ross team that has some good athletes, and if we give them a sense that they can play with us, they could be tough.
Yeah, I think we learned that last year. We played them twice and beat them pretty easily early in the season, and we went in the second game a little banged up, probably a little overconfident, and they played really well, and we didn't, and we got beat. So, they're going to come in here wanting to win and feeling like this is a game they could win, and they're going to play extremely hard, and they're young, so they're not too discouraged by having a bad season because they're building for the future. So they're going to come in here and be ready to play, so we know we got our work cut out for us.
Jarius, let's talk a little bit. We've talked about the athletic part of you. Let's talk about the student part of you. What are you majoring in, and what do you hope to do with your life?
Right now I'm majoring in biology, and I'm interested in physical therapy and a little bit of nursing as well. So hopefully after I graduate here, I can either go to PT school or maybe join an ABSN program.
There you go. Well, let me ask you, I always put student athletes on the spot, and I ask you, who's the best professor you've had so far?
The best professor? Here, I'd probably say his class is really tough, but I really like him, so I'd say Dr. Varela.
I'm a neighbor of his, so I've known Manny for many, many years. And yes, he's a demanding professor, but he's a smart guy. And yeah. Kelley, looking at the season so far, I mean, obviously we'd like to get a couple more wins than we did, but if you look at games, we had games that we could have won. We could easily be, 4-5 right now, or 4-4.
Yeah, I think the only two games that we probably let get away from us was obviously Central Washington and then the Wagon Wheel game. We got behind early and it just got away from us. Every other game, we either had a lead or was really close. And sometime in the fourth quarter, we had a couple games where we had 10-point leads and didn't finish. A couple games where we had onside kicks at the end. If we recover, we have a chance to win. So we've been playing well. At times, just not consistently good enough. But I feel like the Midwestern game and then the game versus Western New Mexico were where we played 4 quarters of good football. And in both those games, we won going away. So that's something we want to continue to strive to be able to do.
Jarius, let's go back and talk a little bit about you coming to Eastern New Mexico University. Usually there's at least one guy that goes out of his way to welcome you and help you kind of learn the ropes. Who was the guy that helped you, and who are you personally tutoring this year?
The guy that definitely reached out and just helped me along the way would have to be Nick Harper. Unfortunately, he's hurt this year. He's not able to play. But that's somebody, even though we played the same position, anything I needed, he was there to help me. And somebody that I try to help is somebody from Port Lavaca. His name's Derek Salinas. He's actually not on the offensive side of the ball, but I've known him since we were kids, so that's definitely somebody I try to help out.
Well, Kelley, we'll give you the last question here. For people who come out and watch play against All Ross and are going to come and watch you in a couple of weeks against Kingsville, what's the one thing that you hope they leave the stadium thinking about your team?
Well, that we're going to play together as a team, offense, defense, special teams, our sideline, and that we're going to play hard, and give great effort, regardless of the scoreboard, whether we're up, down, if we're in a tough game. I think our effort should always be the same. And if you see us playing as a team, playing us with great effort, then I'm going to be proud of our young men.
Well, Jarius, congratulations. I mean, you're a once-in-a-lifetime ball player and a very modest young man, so I appreciate you giving a shout-out to the O-line. And Kelley, congratulations on getting the win last Saturday, and let's hope that this time next week we can talk about a 2-game win streak.
Let's do it.
All right, well, that is going to wrap up our first interview segment, so we'll clear the set, and we're going to bring in Daven Vo from Greyhound men's basketball right now. Welcome back to SportsLook, and a privilege to bring back to the set of SportsLook the head coach of Greyhound men's basketball, Daven Vo. And Coach, welcome back to SportsLook.
Thanks for having me. Good seeing you.
Well, Coach, we're going to pull the curtain back and reveal the man behind the curtain that you're not supposed to pay attention to. We taped this program, so actually tonight, when this program is airing at 9 o'clock, there will have been an event that will have started at 8 o'clock that is pretty cool.
Yes, late night at the Loy, something like Midnight Madness. We're going to introduce the teams, men's and women's teams. We'll have a costume contest. We'll have a half-court shot contest. We'll have a dunk contest, and the men and women will go against each other in a three-point contest. Something we want to start and continue to make happen, but some incentives there to get some people there that usually don't come to the games is if you're wearing a costume, come see if you can win some money.
And it's a perfect night because people can go from the Greyhound costume World Series game that night
Yeah.
2 years. So just win-win it.
I'll be there. I'll be there with flyers. I'll be there trying to pull people to come over to the gym, and we'll have a good night.
Absolutely. Coach, let's talk a little bit about the season so far. It's the preseason part, but from what I understand, you did have one scrimmage and went pretty well.
It went very well. This year, we're bringing back 8 returning players, which is kind of unheard of in sports these days, in college sports these days. 4 of those guys are all conference players. So we've got really good continuity coming back. But more importantly, those 8 guys have set the tone with our new recruits that have come in, and there's really good leadership, and there's a lot less micromanaging from the coaching standpoint, and there's just more playing and more learning, and these guys are on track to do some really special things. I really believe that.
Coach, you usually get a team leader who's a vocal leader, and you get one who maybe doesn't say very much, but leads by example. Who's your vocal leader and who's your lead by example?
Our vocal leader is probably Cooper Jackson. He won a national championship at Barton, and he's just a very outspoken guy, and he's not afraid to talk, and he's not afraid to step up. Our guy that leads by example and also leads with his voice, but mostly leads by example, is Maurice Austin, our returning sophomore. He's a true freshman last year, made all-freshman team. His leadership is just beyond his years. When you think about some of the things that he's done, some of the things that he's had to go through last year, and what he had to endure as a freshman, and he still had a great season, came in second in voting for Freshman of the Year. He's a great guy to follow. These guys really like his leadership because every day he leads by example. You know, he's there early, he does what he's supposed to do, and he's mentally tough.
A young man that is not really very vocal, but clearly is a warrior and has been a warrior every year for you is Jose Murillo. And talk a little bit about your post player.
Whew, where do we start? Going into his 4th year, it doesn't seem like long ago that I was going to Highland High School to watch him play and stalk him and convince him to come to Eastern New Mexico. Now he's a part of the fabric of the community. I see him walking around, riding his bike. Going into his 4th year, looking to all conference again. This past summer, he was lucky enough to try out for the Mexican national team, and he made the Mexican national team. And he played in a FIBA event there in Mexico. I was fortunate enough to go watch it. He was impressive. He has gotten a lot better. Played with a bunch of grown men, played against other grown men, played well, and he came back with a world of confidence. Another guy that leads by example. You know, you asked me these questions last year, and I was able to answer them easy. This year, I have a hard time answering them because there's a lot of guys that are doing what they're supposed to do. And, of course, I leave the big guy out, but, I mean, he's just such a constant worker and a constant guy that does what he's supposed to do. Unfortunately, sometimes I leave him behind, but he's our marquee guy. He's going to be getting the ball a lot this year. He deserves every bit of credit that people want to give him because every single day works hard. He shows up on time. In the 3 years I've been here, he's missed one meeting, and that's it. And I know a lot of people say we have guys that have never missed meetings. Mistakes happen all the time, but not with Jose.
Last year was a year that saw you guys go to the LSE postseason, and in a world with maybe a more fortuitous bounce, you would have beaten LCU, would have gone to the semis. What was the characteristic of last year's squad that made them successful, and is this going to be a continuation, or is this team already shaping up to be something a little bit different?
This team's going to be much different. Even though we bring back a lot of the same guys for all conference players, this team's going to be much different. Just because the guys are a little more focused, and they've been much easier to coach, and the chemistry and synergy in our locker room has just been through the roof. I wouldn't be this excited and this positive about a team if it wasn't so easy to coach them. It's been very easy to coach them. Last year's team, we were really strong. We were very athletic. We rebounded the ball extremely well, and we had excellent interior play. This year's team, we have a very good balance, and every single guy is turned up and ready to play defense. And that's hard to do, but with our group, it's been very easy to ask for. Like, they are focused. in our scrimmage and in our practices, they get after it, and we really don't have to motivate them to do that. And when that happens, special things can happen. So we don't find ourselves coming into practice when we haven't played someone in a long time, like these preseason days are, and having to encourage them and having to get onto them. These guys are getting onto each other, and they're policing each other. We're just focusing on the big picture things. So it's been very good. Our trajectory is much higher from last year. Even though last year was great, we're only one game away from the national tournament. If the ball would have bounced our way, and I take full credit on it, if we would have hit one more free throw, we would be in a different situation. But I think we're better for it. I think those mistakes are going to help us and prepare us and propel us to have a better season this year.
Obviously, there's still a lot of basketball to be practiced between now and your first game, but who has particularly impressed you so far of the new players?
New guys coming in, the most impressive guy we've got is that surprised us is Mika Tangerman. Kid from Germany, 6'10", can just flat out play. And not only can he score the ball, but surprisingly, he's very good on defense. He doesn't really turn it over. He's just a well-rounded player. And I am excited to see what he can do. We're really hard on him. We're hard on all of our guys, and we have a big, high expectation, a high standard that we play by. And he's been able to adapt right away. I thought it'd take a year or two for him to adjust, but the pro teams that he played for back in Germany have really prepared him for Lone Star play and to play this non-conference schedule that we have. You know, in Germany, they really don't have colleges that have college sports, and these kids, what they do is they join clubs, and these clubs are pro teams. And so some of these guys that are playing club basketball at the age of 20 or 21 that should be in college, they're playing against grown men that have already played college basketball. So he's got great experience. But he's coming in, he's really impressed us, worked his tail off, and I'm excited to see him play. You should be too.
I am definitely looking forward to this year broadcasting both men and women's basketball. I think you're both going to have outstanding seasons. Speaking of seasons, the season is actually going to favor people here in Portales because we're going to see more of you guys earlier in the season than in years past.
We have a crossover. It's called a Crossover Classic coming up November 14th and 15th. First game at 7 o'clock on Friday. We're going to host Fort Lewis College. Haven't been fortunate enough to beat those guys in the last 4 years, but this is the year. They're playing a new style of basketball, but I think we're ready to go. We'll follow that up on Saturday playing in-state rival New Mexico Highlands. They've got a new coach, and they're going to have some really good players. But we open up the season here at home, 2 games at home, and then we'll have the Kids' Day game following up on November 18th, one of my favorite days. We pushed for it like crazy, and we got it. We made it happen. We expect the arena to be packed all 3 days. So we need everybody in Greyhound Nation to be there, support our team. You're really going to enjoy these guys playing basketball. And lastly, this is the last year you're going to see Jose Murillo. It's not like he's transferring anywhere. He's graduating. He's going into his 4th year. And let's really honor that and talk about how special that is because not everyone's doing that. And he's doing it for the right reasons, and we're going to make sure that he gets sent off in the proper way.
Well, Coach, congratulations on a successful first year as the head man of Greyhound men's basketball, and let's hope that this year we make a deep run in the LSC playoffs.
I hope so, too. Doc, can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Invite me on more often. I'd love to be here.
Absolutely. We will make that happen.
Great.
We'll make it so, as they used to say on Star Trek. All right, well, that is going to wrap up our second interview segment. So what we'll do is we'll clear the set, and I'll finish up with an overtime right now. For a third straight week, I could talk about a record-setting day for a Dodger, but I'm not going to. But I am going to talk about a record. We talked about the fact that the Greyhounds set the NCAA Division II record for most rushing yards in a game. I'm not sure if you're aware of that or not, but in Division II, there's a school that holds the record for most passing yards in one game. That would also be Eastern New Mexico University. So there is a fun fact for this Thursday evening. Well, that will finish up in an overtime, and that will wrap up an episode of SportsLook. I'd like to thank my guests, Jarius Stewart, Kelley Lee, and last but not least, Daven. Ms. Jasmine, my floor director once again. So for all of those aforementioned people, this is Doc Elder saying, so long.